Okay, so we're back now, and this is video number 3. And this video, I can't promise it's going to be short. Sometimes I do say I want to keep it short, but sometimes when I do these race reports, they go on long. I realize I start to ramble on, and if you want to click stop, probably a good time to click stop right now if you don't want to listen to me talk about my Ironman race. And it's definitely coming from my perspective as an athlete and as a coach and what I experienced on that day. So if you don't want to listen to that, then click stop and go watch something else. Okay, so Ironman Whistler happened about 3 weeks ago. As many of you guys know, the forecast for the weather was not looking good. And so the biggest worry that I had was, what do we wear? So leading up to the race, I was watching the weather. I'd go out and go for bike rides and runs and kind of feel, well, how does it feel to run in the rain? And I realized I found out that the rain didn't feel that hard. It almost felt like soft rain, if that makes any sense. But it wasn't really hard rain. So I thought, this is not bad. We could race in this. It's no big deal. And so the day of the race is you got to figure out, well, what are you going to wear? Like, what are you going to pack in your bags, right? So what are you going to wear on the bike? What are you going to wear on the run? And all that stuff has to be packed in advance, right? And so what are you going to put in your special needs? So that's, for me, that was the biggest stress that I had, was actually what to wear. And I figured in the swim to bike bag or the bike to run bag, if you put stuff in there, it's no problem because you get it back at the end of the race. But if you put anything in the special needs bag, you're going to lose it. And so I took a risk, and I had this long sleeved yellow shirt that I had for, I don't know how long, maybe 10 years. And it was like a golden boy shirt, right? And so I decided to take that shirt and shove it in my bike special needs bag, just in case I was cold, I needed to put it on. I put it in there and I said goodbye to my shirt. I said, "You've been a good shirt. See you later, shirt." But I thought, it's gone, right? I'm not going to see this shirt again. But as luck turned out, I needed that shirt. So let's go to race day. I was up at 4:45, so pretty early, and I went to T2. There's 2 transitions, right? So there's one transition at the lake, and then there's a second transition for the bike to run. But you need to go to the second transition to drop off your special needs bag. And for me, I like to add things to my running bag as well. And so I add nutrition and things like that. But one of the funniest things that I had that morning was, you have to get body marked. So this race, they didn't give you tattoos. So they did it old school with the black Sharpie. And the lady marking me said, okay, so I asked her, well, what do you need? Arms, and your calf. And so she goes, well, how old are you? I go, 45. And she was writing the number on my calf, and she goes, these don't look like the calves of a 45-year-old. So that made me smile, and that was a nice perk for me, just to kind of boost up my ego, and I like that. So if you're ever marking someone's legs, that's a great way to make them feel good. The lineups are pretty long, right? And I got there thinking, oh, this is going to take a long time. So you get the T2, drop off all your stuff, and then you got to get in line to get to a shuttle to get to the lake. And I just thought, well, whatever, it's going to be fine. I did this race the year before, and it was no problem. So I was there, I was on the bus at 5:45, and I got to the lake at 6 o'clock. And remember, the race starts at 7, so you still have an hour, so that's lots of time. So once I got to T1, what I did the day before is I had a plastic bag, and I had some tape, and I wrapped it around my, can you see this? The handlebars here. I've got electronic stuff on the bike, so I wrapped it all up. So if you're going to do an Ironman and the rain is in the future or in the forecast, bring a bag with you and bring some tape so that when you get to your transition area, you can wrap it up and then you can tape it. So what I ended up doing was actually taking the garbage bag out of the hotel room and then using that. And I wrapped up the bag, and there was people still setting up transition. They had tape. And so I just asked them for tape, and sure, they were so helpful. They said, yeah, here's some tape. And they helped tape up my bike so that the front part was going to stay dry. I also had a seat cover, just a little seat cover I got from the race before. And I put that over the seat, so that's going to keep the seat a little bit dry. which is kind of funny because you take it off anyway, and if it's raining, it's going to get wet anyways, right? So, but it kind of makes you feel a little bit better knowing that your bike's not getting so soaked overnight. Then the next thing I did is I prepared my bike. I made sure everything looked good. And if I had nutrition that I needed to do, like gels and salt tablets and stuff, I put that in my swim to bike bag because you have access to that. And then I had a lot of gear with me, so I had my vest, arm warmers and stuff, and I took that and put it in the bag as well. And this is where I made a bit of a mistake. What I should have done is I should have had 2 bags in there. So they give you 1 bag, but it'd be nice to have another bag inside that you can really cinch it up. Because I didn't realize or think about if it starts raining, the rain goes in the bag and everything gets soaked. So that was all my stuff got soaked. And so I should have had another bag inside, zip tight, which is a hard thing to do because when you're coming out of the lake and you're running to get your bag, you don't want the bag so, tied tight that you have to spend too much time. You want to just take it and go as fast as possible. But on the other hand, you also want your stuff to be dry so that when you put it on, it's dry. So it's kind of got to gamble on what you want to do. So I looked at the forecast and I decided, okay, I'm going to race in. I truly thought this. It's going to rain, 50% chance of rain, but I thought it was going to stop in about an hour. That's what I had in my mind. It's going to stop. It's going to rain. It's fine, but it's going to stop in an hour. So even if it stops in 2 hours, I'm going to be fine. An hour riding the rain is no big deal, right? So what I did is I put on arm warmers in my bag, put on socks, vest, helmet, and gloves. And that's what in my bag, and the shoes, of course, right? After I put all the clothes in my bag, I came back to my bike and I chatted with one of my older athletes. His name was Rob, and we just laughed about how long we've been doing this. I think he started in 2008. It was the first Ironman for him. And so we just laughed at how many races we've done, and he's done a lot. And he was just down the road, or just down the road from me. We're both all-world athletes, so we had low numbers, which is pretty cool because you can find your bike a lot easier. We were on the far rack and mine was at the very end. It was like perfect spot. So it was really good, really cool. But it was nice to have someone to zip you up. It's nice to have someone to zip you up your wetsuit, and it's so cool to have a friendly face and someone who can, and who you can trust to zip you up really good. So just before the swim start, it did start to rain. But again, I thought no big deal, right? You're swimming, you're going to get wet anyways, and it's going to stop in an hour or two. I don't mind about that. So I hopped in the lake just before the pro men started. They started at 6:50, so I must have been about 6:47 or so. And I didn't warm up in the lake like the days before at all. I mean, I had so much lake swimming from Calgary, I didn't need to do any more swimming. But what I found out is I forgot the lake conditions, how they are. When you dive into the lake is quite murky and it's quite black. I think it's because of the silt that comes up. So it's not the cleanest start. When you kind of dive in, you go, what is this? And there's weeds coming up, and I forgot about the weeds. So you're swimming through this murky black water, and you got weeds coming up. And so if you're kind of freaked out by that, get in early just to get over that anxiety. For me, I didn't really care. I'm just swimming through it. I knew where I wanted to go. So I watched the pros take off, and then I decided to go get in position. And just like the last year, I decided to start in the same spot, which is the far left-hand side. Now, what I found this year, there were a lot more fast swimmers on the left side. Last year, not so many, but this year, quite a few more. Still not many, but there was more than last year. The start was fine. There's a little bit of bumping here and there, but really, at the end of the day, it was pretty good. A lot of smooth sailing. I had a lot of open water for the majority of the first stretch, and we're doing kind of a rectangle swim, right? And we're going counterclockwise, and we have to do 2 loops. One nice thing about having poor weather is that when we took our first left-hand turn after the 7th buoy, the mountains are right there, and you look up. Usually the sun comes up and it blinds you. Today, there was no sun, so you could see where to go. And so that made the turn a lot easier. And I found the swim to be really not that bad. You could definitely tell that the rain was coming down. You could feel it coming on your face. But again, you're wet anyway, so it doesn't matter. Swimming in the rain is no problem. Did it get choppy? Maybe a little bit choppy, but I don't think it didn't make for that hard of a swim. So I just focused on being smooth and control. and I was out of the water in 102. My goal was an hour. If you watch my previous video about setting Ironman goal time, if you can watch the video, maybe I'll put the link right here. My goal was an hour. I came out in 102, and I was happy with that. That was really good. So I was right on target. You can use strippers when you come out. So the wetsuit strippers. I didn't use the stripper because my wetsuit is very old, and seriously, I didn't want them to tear it in half. I mean, that's how old this wetsuit is. But I like it. I like it a lot. I can swim comfortable and confident in it. So I figured I'm going to try and get one more race out of this wetsuit. And sure enough, it held together. You come out of the water, put on your wetsuit, then you run to get your swim to bike bag, pick up the bag, run into the tent, and I saw a buddy of mine named Mike. He was sitting down. Mike's a really fast swimmer, so he's still there. I thought, that's pretty good. I must have had a pretty good swim. And I didn't have my watch, so I didn't know the time. I know I was 102 after the fact. But he was there, so I figured I was doing all right. This is where I got into some trouble, though, was trying to get everything on. So what I do is I go through the tent, I go right to the end, get a chair, and I sit down. I don't usually sit down, but this time I wanted to make sure I put on all my gear, because the main goal for me for this was to get the clothes on properly and dry. But I found right away, because I didn't double bag it, everything was wet inside. My shoes were wet, the socks were wet, everything was wet. So I put on the arm warmers, put on the socks, put on the shoes. Oh, I also forgot I put on booties. So I had booties in there. The booties were Tim. So Tim, thank you very much for the booties. The booties probably saved my life. So booties were awesome. If it's raining, get booties. Not two tote covers, but the whole booties. So I got everything on except for the gloves and the glasses. The glasses are all steamed up. So I'm running. I got the glasses kind of, like this, hanging out of my mouth, right? And I'm running to get my bike. And I get to the bike area. So I'm like this, right? And I'm trying to put on my gloves. And have you ever tried to put on wet gloves? And it just doesn't happen so good. So I'm right by the fence. There's a crowd of people that are just watching me and everybody else. I'm trying to put these on. It was just so comical. It would not happen. And so I just looked at some people in the crowd, just started to laugh, and they were laughing at me. But I eventually kind of shoved them on as best I could, grabbed the bike, and then off I went. So because I had the booties on, I had to run with my shoes on. Usually I would pick up the shoes and run with the shoes in my hand, because it's way faster than running with the shoes on, because you're running on kind of I don't know what the ground is underneath. It feels like it's sand, but it's really soft, and so it takes a while. But I ran like that until you get across the mountain line, hopped on the bike, and away you go. And so I took the first little bit quite easy, right? Because I wanted to make sure how's the bike going to handle the wet and the cold coming down the descents. Is it going to be sketchy at all, or what? So I took it quite conservative, and I wanted to see how cold it was, and it wasn't that bad. And so then I'm going to kind of fast forward the bike as fast as possible, because I realized this takes a long time to talk about 180 kilometers. So basically I zipped along to the first climb, which is up to Callahan Valley. And that is not Callahan Valley, but Callahan ski area. And it's a really good climb. I was actually looking forward to it. The reason why I was looking forward to it, because I'm cold. I'm on the bike and you're cold. It's raining. It's not just raining, but it's pouring out. And the temperature is 10 degrees. I didn't really know what temperature it was. So I was just on the bike. I'm just in my own zone. And I'm just trying to ride. And I thought to myself, it doesn't feel so bad. This is not so bad. I can do this. And then I come up to the climb. I was really looking forward to the climb, because when you go up a climb, you're working harder, right, than on the flats. So I knew I was going to heat up. So I was really looking forward to this. It takes about, an hour or more to get to the top. And then, so that was no problem. Got to the top, and I probably made my way, I bet you at this point in the race, I was probably in the top 100, passed quite a few people, and I felt pretty strong. Coming down, though, was a different story. Coming down, some of those hills are 10%, so you got to be very careful coming around the corners. You do not want to be crashing going down the hill, and it's a long descent, right? And it's cold. It's 10 degrees, maybe 9 degrees at the top, so it's very cold, and it's raining, right? So your body temperature is getting colder. Everything's getting colder. And then you come down, you're onto the flats, going to Whistler, kind of rolling hills. I'm still doing okay, but as I keep doing this, I realize I get colder and colder. The first time I take some gels, so it's in my back pocket, I take the gel out, it's in the gel flask. The gel will not come out. This was another mistake I made. I put the gels in the fridge the night before. I always do this because I don't want the gels to go bad, whether that's true or not, but that's what I do. And so I took it out, and they're still cold, and they would not come out. So I had to really kind of suck to get it out, and I'm not getting much gel out at all. And as the ride progresses, my hand can't squeeze the water bottle. I go, this is not good. I can't get gels in, and I can't get fluid into my body. And so I got colder and colder and colder, and people are passing me. And it's just getting into a level of frustration, but I just kept going. And then I knew that as I get closer to Pemberton, my special needs. I got a yellow long sleeve shirt in there that I'm going to put on. It's going to warm me up. So that's all I was thinking about. Get the special needs. I have a Red Bull in the bag. I'm going to have a Red Bull, put on a shirt, and I get to stop and then have some Cliff. What are those called? Those Cliff shots. I have those in there too. So I'm going to have some shots. I'm going to have a shirt on to warm me up, and I'm going to have that Red Bull drink. Coming down to Pemberton's some pretty good descents there, and I had to go really slow. I had to put the brakes on. My body is shaking, right? So I'm shaking, and then the shaking from the body is getting transferred to the bike, so then the bike's starting to shake. So I couldn't go too fast. I had to slow down, get the bike under control, because I didn't want to crash. I'm like, I am not crashing today, so I'd rather stop, go down the hill. Not stop, but put the brakes on, slow down the hill, and then get into Pemberton, get in there safely. So that's what I did. And Pemberton, I realized that I'd done about 92 kilometers on the bike, and I consumed probably 1 water bottle and maybe 1.5 gel. And so you realize at that point in the race, that's not enough calories, right? It is not enough calories. And so it's not going to be good. This cannot end well. So the next part from Pemberton, there's an out and back. And this, before I drove the course in the car, I broke it up into quarters. So I've already done half of the course, and this is the third quarter coming up. And so I know it's out and back, and it's pretty flat. So I use this section to try to stretch myself out. I'm getting cold. The rain has stopped. I got my long sleeve shirt on, so I'm getting warmer, right? And I'm just using this time to start drinking and taking in the gels and the chews. Oh my gosh, did those chews ever taste good? They were like the best thing ever. That's all I did was the chews. They saved my life that day, was the chews. The gels, not so much, but the chews. Every aid station, I'm just grabbing chews, whatever they got. And that was the ticket for the race for me that day, was with the chews. I was still getting past. I did not have a lot of power. I was a little bit down on myself. And I just hate getting past on the bike, because I know I was in good shape. But what can you do when it's cold out? So I was doing the best I could. I got back to Pemberton after the out and back. I'm tired, but again, I'm looking forward to the climb coming out, because I know it's going to heat us up. And so I'm riding along, still doing a good job, and I realize my back tire is rubbing. And at this, I'm just, whatever. I get off the bike, adjust the back wheel, and you can see that, it's got so much debris, not debris, but like rocks and stuff from all the rain picking up on the road. It's just rubbing on the frame. So I kind of cleaned it off, adjusted the wheel, hopped back on the bike, and kept going. Because at that point in the race, I'm like, it doesn't matter. And I just keep riding. And I got to a point where I said to myself, okay, Todd, this is Ironman number 12. This is it. Like, why are you doing this? I'm not doing another Ironman. This is enough. I think 12 is enough. Don't you agree? 12 is enough. Are you having any fun? And then so I talked to myself like that, probably about 2 or 3 minutes. And then I said, that's crazy talk. And I kind of had to talk myself out of it. And I realized just how much fun this actually is in a crazy sense of the way, right? I mean, you're out there, you're riding a bike, you're in beautiful Whistler. I know you can't enjoy it because you can't see the mountains because you're all socked in with the clouds. But you're still racing. You're racing in Ironman. You see people out there. We're all going through it. And I was able to give myself a pep talk. And that helped a lot. And what I also did is I focused on other riders. So if I could see a rider in the distance that was going the same speed as me, I kind of latched on like visually. And then that helped me get to the end of the ride. And I was quite tired at the end. I need a drink from my Whistler mug. Hang on a sec. So I finished the ride. The funny part about the ride is the bike computer. I ride with this one. Garmin 510, right? And so it's collecting a lot of data, it's collecting heart rates, collecting power, all that stuff, and the GPS. It was clear, battery was fully charged, but after 6 hours of riding, it just died. Like, whatever. I wasn't really watching the power or the heart rate at all. I had the heart rate monitor strap on, and I watched that probably for 30 minutes, and then that was it. And the rest of it, it really didn't matter. The power, I was watching the power, and I kind of missed seeing the power, which is too bad. I guess what I could have done is on my watch, I could have put the power on there, but I just really just surviving, trying to get through that last 30 minutes. But once I came into transition, I forgot how cool that last little section coming in. There's lots of little turns and things that you feel like you're on a Formula One race course. Whistler really does a good job with this, and I just thought, this is awesome. You know, I was just totally forgot about how they did this, or maybe it was new, or I don't know, but whatever the case may be, I really enjoyed that last section coming into T2, and I just thought, this is cool. Usually I can take my feet out of the shoes, put them on top, and then I do, a dismount with my shoes still on the bike. But because I had the booties on, I can't do that. So I have to unclip, put the legs over, and then I run with my shoes on. So that definitely slows me down. But again, at this point in the race, I don't really care. I just want to get this race over. Okay, so I'm in the change tent, and this is what I do for the change tent. I have a bike jersey on. Well, I got everything on. I got to take off the yellow shirt. I got to take off the arm warmers. I got to take off the gloves. I got to take off my bike jersey, and I put on a singlet. Usually I take off my shorts as well and put on my bike shorts and put on some running shorts. But today, for that race, I just decided, I had this young guy helping me change, and I don't know what, but I just didn't want to get totally naked in front of this guy, and I just thought, I'm just going to run these tri shorts. I've never done an Ironman in these tri-shorts. They're brand new. Well, not brand new, but I got them for Ironman Hawaii 17.3, and they worked well there. So let's see if they're going to work well for here too. So I just leave them on. And again, at this stage, I didn't care. Put on the brand new socks I bought at the expo. I put on the shoes, and off I went. And I grabbed my gel flask, salt tablets, threw them in the back, put on the hat and number belt, off I go. And so you run out of the tent. Did I go to the bathroom there to use the porta potty? I can't remember. Maybe not. I can't remember. And so I started running, and within 10 strides, I thought to myself, wow, this feels good. And so I bought new shoes this year, and they were New Balance. I don't know the number. Maybe I have the number somewhere here. So I've kind of got off reading this. They're New Balance 1400s. Now, to quote Mike, my athlete Mike, who actually quotes his massage therapist Dave, who is Canada's ultra marathon champion, the way these shoes feel, and this is how they felt for the first 10 strides, is like you're spooning with supermodel. Now, obviously, I have no idea how that feels. Probably not many people do, but I'm going to tell you, I imagine it feels pretty good. And these shoes felt really good as I'm running. So 10 strides, and it felt really good. So I'm just running along, and I'm just surprised at how well my run feels. I just kept running and running and running. And every now and then I'd look at my pace. I'd watch the pace, and my target for the run was to hold 5-minute kilometers. Now in the beginning I looked down, I'm like 4:30, 4:45, somewhere around there. It's fast, right? And I realize that's a bit too quick. But on the other hand, I'm not too worried about the pace. I'm kind of going by how do I feel. That was the best measurement for me for the run than anything else. Like heart rate, that came off right away. I didn't want it on. I didn't use it for the bike. I'm not using it for the run. It was all about pace and the feel, but really it was the feel. And I would use the pace just to make sure I'm not going crazy fast. Sometimes I drop down to 4:30. I go, maybe that's not even right. But I was thinking, well, how do I feel? And I go, I feel pretty good. And I'm not pushing too hard. If any point during the run I felt like I was going too hard, guess what I did? That's right. I slowed down, right? So, and if I felt like I was going too easy, I'd go a little bit quicker. Now the run is a beautiful run in Whistler. I rented a mountain bike 2 days before, and I went around and did the run. And if you're going to do Whistler, or basically almost any Ironman, I highly suggest you get out a bike and you ride. Driving a car is cool, but biking it is way better because you get a sense of feel for the elevation and where you have to go. So that was a great thing for me. So I knew where I was going. I knew what was coming up next. And it kind of makes the run for me shorter than it's going to be. And so I just kept doing that throughout the whole run, and I latched on. Actually, there was two people that just blew by me. There's this one guy early in the beginning, probably about maybe 5K into the race. He passed me like I was standing still. I thought, oh my gosh, can this guy ever run? Shortly after that guy passed me, this lady, I think she was either in my age group or an age group up, and she passed me too like I was standing still. I go, oh, wow, those people can run. And I looked at my pace. I go, I'm doing what I can do. I'm good. Stay where I'm at. And so I just kept going. When I got to 13K, I caught that guy that passed me. We chatted for a little bit. His name was Andrew from Australia. So we chatted for a little bit, and then he just took off. And I was still going by my feel, my pace, and so I let him go. And then we kind of went back and forth throughout the whole race. At the end of the race, I ended up beating him by a couple of minutes, but he still had a really good run. That lady, she was gone. She ended up beating me. She was such a fantastic runner. So that's basically what I did for the run, is I just kept going by feel, and it worked like a charm. This is what I ate at all the aid stations. I did have my gel flask. I used that probably for the first 10K, and then I tossed it. So I would just sip the gels, but every time I came to an aid station, I would take water, just fast into the mouth, and then I would have Red Bull. So water, Red Bull, gels at the beginning. Once I ran out of gels, I switched to those honey stingers, those chews. For me, they were the best. Then later on, I went to pretzels, and then they had some grapes. So I grabbed pretzels and grapes. The pretzels were really, really key for me the last 10K. I grabbed a bunch of them. I put some in my mouth, and I would just kind of let them dissolve, and I could get the salt and then the calories. So I would just slowly eat them that way. The problem with that, though, is like they got stuck in my throat. I didn't have any fluid, so it was getting kind of hard. I'm like, I got to get to an aid station. I remember one time I was running, I was looking at all the runners going, who's got a fuel belt? Who can I ask? I need a sip of water because I feel like I got this thing stuck in my throat. But it never happened. It never got that bad. But seriously, I was going to ask this lady, I need a sip of your water. I got this thing stuck in my throat. So that's a problem with doing the pretzels and letting it dissolve that way. But the run felt good. I was able to hold my pace for the majority of it. The last 3K, I realized it was like someone tied a piano to my back. And it was like, boom, I came to a stop. And not a stop, but definitely slowed down. I promised myself, try not to walk at all during this race. I stopped a couple of times to go to the porta potty, but I don't really count that as stopping. That's just something that I have to do. You got to relieve yourself, right? But I didn't actually come to an aid station and stop. So I would just as quick as possible. So I was very proud about that. No stopping. The last 3K was horrible, but it's only 3K. You can do anything for 3K. The last finishing mile or so, a guy in my age group passed me. I'm like, I've got nothing. And I thought at this point, I'm not close to getting a Hawaii spot, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I couldn't push any more than I had for the run, so, I mean, good for you, man. I cannot catch you. The finishing shoot was really good. There was no one around me, so I had a nice long stretch to enjoy it. You know, arms up, celebrating the whole way. At the end of the day, I ended up finishing in 114th overall at about 2,000 people. So with that's really good, right? You know, I was hoping to do a little bit better, so I was a bit disappointed, but at the end of the day, 114th is really good. My time was 10:55, and I was 20 minutes short of getting a Kona spot, which is, for me, it was very disappointing because my whole year was trying to get to Kona. I knew I had to come top 5, but I couldn't control the weather. No one can. I tried so hard to control the weather, and you just can't. So the cool thing is my swim was right on target, my run was right on target, and my bike was nowhere near the target, just based on the weather and things I couldn't control. So at the end of the day, that's Ironman number 12 done. I was happy, and the cool thing is that I still want to do another one. So I got out of that, you know, that low period during the race where I thought, this is it, I don't want to do another Ironman. So I'm looking forward to Ironman number 13, Lucky 13. And where's it going to be? As of today, I don't know where it's going to be. I'm waiting for you guys to tell me where you're going to do your Ironman, and then I'm going to sign up as well. But don't wait too long because I want to get into an Ironman. If not, I will go back and do Whistler. Whistler is, I like Whistler a lot. It's a fun place, and I like Ironman Canada. So either Whistler or Mont Tremblant are probably two races I'd like to do, but Mont Tremblant fills up, so I can't wait too long. But that's it. thank you for listening to this long race report. How long did it last? Was it 30 minutes? I don't know. But if you lasted that long, maybe you should get an award. So for me, another mug, which is cool, right? As you know, I'm collecting these mugs. We have an athlete doing Ironman Japan this weekend. So Jonah, I wish you the best of luck in Japan, and I hope you have a great race. He's training really, really well, so he's going to have a great day for sure. But that's it. I'm going to stop the video here. And again, I hope you guys found it useful and informative. And if you're doing Ironman Whistler next year, it's a fantastic race. Just bring all your stuff. If it's going to rain, bring everything you got. And you don't have to use it, but you can get through a cold, wet ride, especially if you have the right gear. If you don't have the right gear, you're going to suffer and you're going to end up having a horrible day. But if you have the right gear, you're going to be okay. I promise you're going to be okay. And practice training in crappy conditions. You know, in the swim, if it's cold out, if you're in lake, swim in it. If it's biking and it's crappy, you don't say, I don't want to go out there. Get out there and get practice. It's good for you to know that you can train in poor weather so that when racing happens and the weather is poor, you're not going to freak out so bad. And you go, you know what, I can do this. And you're going to be okay. All right, so this is Coach Todd saying thank you very much and happy training.